It says I'm live. I'm going to take it as a win. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another, well, not super political. No, it is political. Political recap stream here on the Moisky Life channel. We haven't done one of these for 3 weeks. Sorry about that. Circumstances and the whole festive season may have prevented us from being able to do this, which is quite alright, to be honest. And because of a lack of political activity in my country, well, there are some things, but it's kind of boring. That's why the title is currently just 2021 in review, because if we run out of things to talk about, we will in fact just, I don't know, go through some of our favourite moments from 2021, which isn't cringe in the slightest. Joining me to discuss some things, most of which have been pulled out of his own backside like 5 minutes ago, is my scrumptious co-host, Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
I'm surprised you remember how to say that. How is Trups?
Oh, yeah. Trups is currently battling flu-like symptoms, which apparently, well, I can't say it's not COVID because it's been like 7-ish days since I tested last for it.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, it might be, but more likely it's just the flu.
Is Trups
Um,
taking anything to assist in this?
yeah, Trups is taking Dayquil and Advil
What on earth are
and
they?
drinking a lot of water and
I have never heard of
not
Dayquil
doing
or
much else.
Advil. They're not a thing here.
Acetaminophen and basically a brand flu medication
Okay.
that
Now
doesn't make you
you're talking you're talking a language I vaguely understand now. It's been a decade,
okay.
but I kind of get it. All right.
Fever reducer and painkiller.
Well, I might recommend a solution. I'm going to quote
Oh,
Lord John Marbury. You might
mm.
find a hot cup of tea will help with some ginger
Ooh,
and a shot of whiskey. Um, you
that's a
might
good idea.
find it might be easier just to get rid of the tea entirely and the ginger and just drink the whiskey. I hear that helps as well.
What about that? My mother actually used to prescribe hottie toddies.
What's a hottie toddy?
It's a honey tea with a shot of Jack in it.
I mean, it vaguely qualifies. I'll allow it if you have
I was
it.
gonna say it's basically the same thing,
Well,
except
Jack
yours
is
sounds separate.
bourbon, but
Mine is
yeah,
altogether.
Jack's a
Oh,
bourbon.
yes, you're quite right, quite right, quite right.
But we'll allow it if you have it.
I think I still have some Knob Creek
I was
downstairs.
about to say, if you've got some Knob Creek, it qualifies. Just drink that and the honey, and you're
That
golden.
that's just almost rubbing alcohol.
I mean,
But
it
yeah,
is, but circumstances do. Context matters.
yes, of
All the
course.
tea is in the bay.
But
Screw you, rodent. You're English as well, by the way. He's English, isn't he? Yeah, he is. Shut up. Let's go on.
well, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year before we get going, because for those in the uh, in the Europe area, y'all are much closer to midnight than we are. So,
Yay. I'm just happy this December's over
yay!
because I've kind of been working every day except for Christmas Day. I was working every single day. I'm just happy, it's over.
Oh yeah. I right now I did try to work over the like because I lived with somebody who had COVID and I was literally not capable of like removing myself from her obviously. Um
F.
we didn't end up traveling for Christmas or New Year's because my sister is pregnant and we didn't want to do that to the
Yeah,
family,
that'd
so
be
we just
unfair, wouldn't it?
hung around. We video chatted, and well, I'm just gonna meet up with them when the baby is born. Um,
That's nice.
yeah. So we basically just postponed our our holidays. Of
Hmm.
course, that that always will make the parents a little bit sad, but they were the ones who encouraged me to do that. I said I'm willing to still drive if you want me up there, and they said no. With all this, we don't want to take the chance with the baby. And I'm like, okay, that's fair, that's fine. So unfortunately, I haven't been anywhere. And I did try to work this week, but it did not work because I invariably ended up getting the flu symptoms, which sucks.
F in the chat for Traps there.
So you were lucky that you stayed healthy, as it appears that everybody has been going through a bit of uh, whether it be Omicron or
Well,
seasonal flu.
infection rate's pretty high in the UK at the moment. For me, the only thing I had was I ruined my voice early in November, and that was
Mhm,
it. I didn't get sick or anything. No congestion, no headaches or runny noses, as referenced there. Um, but yeah.
mhm.
Oh, and Nerdy, you like brandy? What's your view on Metaxa? Please let me know. Um, yeah, I lucked out, I guess. I seem to have managed to avoid it, which is quite nice. I do feel
Mhm.
not that that's 100% a good thing. In fact, it's a flex and a dab. I would never want to experience any of that, so I'll actively do everything I can to avoid it.
Mhm.
Is
That's good though,
is
because
is
sickness
is
sucks.
the person that you mentioned they have recovered? Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
then
So
that's
basically,
the
all they
important
had
thing.
was they had a small fever,
Yeah.
and a sore throat was the biggest thing.
Yeah, so
But
my view is I couldn't care less about the holiday seasons. If there's someone there you care about, then they're the priority.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
and it was important, especially because like the weekend before we had both Ash and I basically went to a friend's pagan ritual celebration.
Okay.
It was a sobble
Okay.
that it was run by a guy who is Norse pagan,
Mm-hmm.
and he invited us and a couple other couples to go out into the mountains and to a cabin, not like a rinky dink cabin, like an actual nice cabin in the woods, and actually spend the holidays with him, and it was a very nice time. Unfortunately, it was exactly after that we ended up getting COVID.
F.
Mm. We did warn them, by the way, after we got it. We were like, well, the kindest thing to do at this point is to at least inform them so that in case anything happens, they're also aware.
Yeah, so they can get themselves checked and make sure they're safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know most of the people who were there were, within my realm of political opinions,
Well,
which
thank.
was fuck you, and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, I I don't think it's. Thankfully, it's that's this situation. Obviously, our government is in a bit of a strange position because infection rates are incredibly high, over 100,000, I believe, a day.
Mhm.
But the hospitalizations don't reflect this. They're not matching it. And so
Okay.
they want to lock us down, but they can't at the same time because there's no um there's no point really. It's just not
Right.
gonna yield
So
a decline or a reduction.
So when you say that there are reported cases, but there are not many hospitalizations,
So
I presume that would mean that somebody would basically call into their doctor, say, "Hey, I tested positive in a home test
well,
or whatever."
yeah, that lateral flow being the more obvious, because what the rules in this country are, if you, especially if you work, you do a lateral flow. If it comes back negative, you're meant to do a PCR, and if that indicates, then yes, you go straight into isolation. Although you're supposed to isolate if the lateral flow is positive. Sorry, um, you're supposed to go into lockdown then um, for a while until you get a PCR result. Um,
Mm,
but as has been pointed out, lateral flows can be cheated. In fact, some people have been doing it on purpose because what they've been doing to, um, excuse me, screw with the lateral flow test is they've been dipping it in orange juice, which for some reason mucks up the test itself, which I find
well,
really interesting.
most of those tests are based on pH.
Hmm. Well,
So if you put it into an acid, a citric acid in this case,
yeah.
then yeah, you'd throw off your
So
reading.
by doing that, there is although it's a small, I'm sure it's not many people. They're still throwing off the numbers. And obviously by extension they're getting time off work because bum and dosser. That's pretty much what
Right.
they are.
Well, I think about that, especially when it comes to my situation.
Hmm.
I only told my job and like people I hang out with that,
Yeah.
hey, I had gotten COVID. I didn't call my doctor. I didn't report it to the state or anything like that because I'm gonna be fine in a couple fucking days. If it becomes an issue, I'll go into the fucking hospital and you can count my number then. But I'm just treating it as a flu until um you know I'm seen to have to treat it other in a different
Until
way.
unless it escalates, you're.
Right, basically.
That's a reasonable position to take, to be honest.
Because if it don't bother anybody, don't bother me, then it's one of those.
Yeah.
Uh, if it becomes a major issue, then we'll deal with it.
Well, fingers
But
fingers crossed for you as well. Then.
yes, of course. Now, but I say that, but this is both something that we've touched on in the year 2021, but there was another screenshot that I had posted in our little Discord, and I want you to just give me your first impression of that last screenshot.
Let's see.
Okay, that's about what I expected. You see, what I just sent him
Fuck's sake.
was
Again?
yeah, oh, absolutely. It
I've
was
just-
a screenshot, and it was of my search results. And I searched flu unusual year off, and in the picture you see 6 different news sites with the exact same headline of flu is making a comeback in US after an unusual year off. I'm pretty
By the way,
sure that
it's not just that. It's the first sentence is also almost the same in every. Actually, it is. It's the same one. It's the same title
yeah.
and sentence.
Yep, yes it is.
Oh, that's by the way. For those who don't get the joke, in 2021, ever since Biden's inauguration, many outlets have been uniting and essentially writing the exact same article. There's no
Yeah,
nuance.
they're
There's no
basically
critical
creating
thought.
a circle jerk.
It's an echo chamber of fake news.
Yes. I mean, in this case, this is true.
It
The
is.
part that makes me cock my head, though, at it is the unusual year off part.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't believe for a second that the flu didn't exist last year.
That's actually something the news has been reporting over here, where they've now started saying, but those that have the flu might well have had COVID. That might be why the numbers aren't quite there and why people in hospital with the flu, because they might have COVID instead. I'm just like, okay, can we just...
The other way around is also possible.
Yeah, yeah, you clearly don't know what you're fucking talking about. Shut the fuck up, all right?
Mhm.
Not you, then.
Yes, no. I completely. I mean, how dare you?
Right, monster.
Yes, absolutely. No, what people have neglected to remember a lot of the time when talking about the flu versus COVID-19 specifically is that COVID-19 is a novel coronavirus. The flu is also a coronavirus. What people might have experienced some of the time when doing testing is I have a strong feeling that a lot of the tests that we had that showed people to have had positive COVID tests, because of course we did not have perfect testing. That would be ridiculous to assume.
Yeah.
Um, I firmly believe that some of the false positives were actually just flu or cold symptoms. Um, because at that point, well, you basically are still suffering a similar disease,
Mm-hmm.
just in a form that we are more familiar with, I suppose. And that's
Right.
me gently navigating around that topic. Without, it's actually weird. I don't even know whether or not I have to be concerned about, saying things that are correct anymore. Because with the advent of the new CDC guidelines, that they just passed. Oh, it was a couple of days ago. Many people on the left and in the media are now criticizing the CDC. So, context for everyone. The CDC recently changed their mandatory quarantine guidelines from a 10-day quarantine period from the point that you find that you test positive to a 5-day quarantine. Now, if we go to CNBC's reporting, the headline reads Delta asks CDC to cut quarantine guidelines for breakthrough COVID, citing workforce impact. It says Delta Airlines CEO Ed Bastian on Tuesday asked the Center for Disease Control to half its recommended quarantine time for vaccinated people who contract COVID 19, saying the current isolation period could negatively affect the airline's operations. Of course, the CDC did, in fact, end up changing the guidelines to 5 days, which has made many of the individuals who ordinarily were trusting of the government very, very confused
Yeah.
and quite cynical, in fact.
Okay.
There were a whole bunch of tweets that basically came out afterwards, basically shitting on the CDC, saying things. I think one of the jokes was CDC says it's safe to run with scissors. Um, oh god, what was another fucking good one? CDC dragged on Twitter. Let's see. CDC says when you've reached the center of a Tootsie Pop, your quarantine is over. The CDC announced that I don't have to tell anyone else in the group that a zombie bit me a few miles back. The CDC just announced you don't actually have to wash your hands, just get the fingies a little wet. The CDC recommends bringing the giant wooden horse into the city. It seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
So many people on Twitter started to now doubt the CDC in all their glory because, of course, they are now saying the opposite of what people expected, which was to basically full mask off. Hey, the business asked, so we changed. So everyone has now realized that all of this has been, well, maybe not all of it, but at least some of it has been. Basically, it was politics and adhering to the desires of corporate entities. I don't know if you guys have had any of those issues, but we have.
If we have, I didn't notice, but that doesn't mean it didn't
Well,
happen. My attention
you guys are
wasn't.
still
Sorry.
10 days, right? You guys are still 10 days,
Yeah,
right?
we're still 10 days. Yeah, sorry, I slipped on that part. I know we've got 10 days, but I don't know if they changed it. Politics has been very quiet here because Parliament's in recess.
Hmm.
So if anything is happening, it isn't happening much. We're hearing bits here and there, but not too much. And realistically, over here, I think we're going to stick with the 10 days because I think there'll be too much pointless panic if they went with something
Hmm.
else.
I'm inclined to agree. I think um, a lot of people are very upset at the notion.
Yeah.
Clearly, um, I mean, people have the right to be upset about this. Especially, I don't necessarily want to say, "Ha ha, screw you guys, you got." I laugh at your expense because it is sad. These people were taken advantage of and they were lied to. And that's just how it is right now. They basically just treated them all like garbage and used them for political fodder, which I could have told you that was going to happen, but
The thing with the CDC and people freaking out is the only reason they're going anonymous is because they're not parroting the same government message.
sure. Well, at least it's not the same. It's not the consistent message that they had earlier on. Um, you have all these media organizations, of course, coming out in lockstep saying the same exact things to one another, but apparently they couldn't get around to um, what to say about former COVID and well,
Oh, and I tend
what
to agree with
happens after
Garrison
that.
Chat. Some people on Twitter are starting to think the CDC isn't trustworthy. Welcome to the club. I generally don't think many of them are trustworthy. But you turning, by the way, to agree with government positions instead of following the science is a big giveaway.
Oh, absolutely. Um, the thing is, though, with the whole science argument, is I don't know if the CDC ever actually followed their own guidance.
They didn't.
Um, because they were constant all throughout this year. We had instances of Democrats who had posted accidentally or were leaked pictures of them at you know
Yeah. You
parties,
mean
at
like our UK
shows,
government one?
mass. Yeah.
They had, what was it, a 19-person party. And, and Boris was there, and they're like, "It's not a party, everyone's social distance." Even though it happened around the time that everyone else was in lockdown. One more for me, one more for thee. Okay. Alright.
Yes, exactly that. Um, so I mean,
Consistent.
you have to kind of expect a little bit from that. Yeah, you're gonna be caught doing the thing,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't always, actually. I don't think they really took themselves too seriously, honestly, when it came down to it,
Yeah.
because they didn't seem as concerned about the advent of COVID or its eventual impact as much as others did. So it begs the question: why though?
Yeah, that's just a
Uh,
point. That's a good
what do
point.
you know that we don't?
Oh, well. Huh. Not much.
Right.
um,
Unfortunately, that's about as much as we're ever going to get from them.
in the chat, Syria De Flora, Oregon's governor, so is that Kate something, was caught without her mask at a
Ooh.
Washington press conference. Nancy Pelosi was caught without hers on, I believe, in a salon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in fact, a lot of the leaders and politicians in any country can be caught up. Boris Johnson went around a hospital without a mask on.
Oh,
I,
good.
I, fam, can you
Right?
can you
Out of all
not?
the things.
Yeah, don't be such a bitch about this, Boris. Put it back on, you dickhead. People
Out
know it's
of, out
you
of
from that.
all of the things that you're going to pretend to at
Yeah,
least follow the rules, can you do it in a hospital?
yeah. The funny thing for me is, if he says it's because people want to recognize him, everyone knows that haircut. Everyone knows that
Oh, yeah.
haircut. It's the Boris. It's how they look in their natural habitat. Um, and yeah, it probably is more about faith than understanding. But we can't read the whole comment because again, YouTube, seriously.
Hmm. So, unfortunately, many people then, had their eyes forced open, so to speak,
Yeah.
whether they wanted it or not. And I think it's going to be good for them eventually, but they'll have to come around to accepting it.
Do you think
Mm,
that this coronavirus nonsense will be over next year?
no,
Right. Moving on.
no, I don't. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Apparently, Biden signed a deal recently for $137 million to a German pharmaceutical company to produce test strips for COVID tests.
S strips.
Test strips,
Oh,
sorry.
test strips. Right, my
Yeah.
apologies. Okay, I mean, that tells us then that they've gotten to the point where they agree that it can't be defeated, so they must instead find alternative means of testing, tracing, and keeping a record of it, which ties into something you said to me before the stream started.
Oh, which part's that?
That Biden had let slip that he was going to, that it was going to be down to the
Oh,
states.
yes, right. So yeah, Biden at a press conference not too long ago, finally admitted to himself and everybody else that he cannot enforce any kind of mandates on the coronavirus from the federal government, that it must be the states to handle it, which I find mildly hilarious. Considering, if you remember all of the shit that was thrown in the direction of Donald Trump during the Democratic run, but President Biden had said several very choice things about President Trump's unwillingness to do anything federally about the virus, only to now come out and say, "Oh, by the way, yeah, I can't do anything about that." So I'd love to say I told you so, but it kind of it's sad. It's sad when I have to say that.
I did notice actually someone in the chat mentioned Fauci. There is a Fauci figurine you can buy.
Ew.
Yeah, an actual figurine. I was looking. I think I saw. Oh, where was it? I saw it on Twitter. Oh yeah, it is actually a full-on figurine. You can get a Pelosi one as well.
Oh, great. I'd like to not do
You
that.
get one of Obama, Kamala. Yep, step with the finger in my mouth. Nice. Yeah, Bernie. Actually, all the big hitters, losers. Sorry, Warren as well. The Native American.
Ha! Funny.
Okay, you can actually get it's in stock at a place called FC Try. I don't know if that's actually a real place though.
I have no idea where that is,
I'll link
but
it
I
to
believe
you.
you.
I'll link it to you. Don't worry, I've got you. Where's Discord? There it is. There you go. Dr. Fauci action figure. I mean, it's got its
Yeah.
elbows move and everything. I'm like, oh my god.
So now you can have your GI Joe, your Snake
Yeah.
Eyes, your Cobra Commander, and
In
Dr.
like 20 years when he's still alive and we're all dying, it'll be worth money.
Oh boy.
And no, I'm not putting that in the
Um,
chat because I don't want someone to actually go and buy it.
True.
Save your money. Give it to Trups instead.
I am a poor boy from a poor family.
Do you want to finish that song?
Sounds good.
Copyright.
True. That part of YouTube still sucks.
Don't get me started on it. It's beyond frustrating.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you entirely. But I know that the CDC guidelines usually echoes a lot of what your what your country ends up doing. Do you anticipate that your guidance is going to be reduced in the near future?
I'm not sure. I know Scotland have already essentially locked their country down, and Wales have too, and Boris has simply turned around and said, "What are you two doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you such pricks?" They essentially cancelled New Year and Christmas for their countries because of the infection rate rising, but not the hospitalizations. It wasn't matching, and yet we're getting reports again that the NHS is under immense strain and can't handle the new cases. And I'm just sat here like, yeah, but the NHS can't handle anything ever. They're always under strain. It's always reported that way. So can you please actually, I don't know, say something different and have it mean something more? In the sense of you've watered
No.
this down, you've watered it down to the point where it means nothing to us. Boris is reluctant. I know that. I know he doesn't want to. It's why he has said enjoy New Year. There was a belief that perhaps, sorry about the coughing, by the way. There was a belief that perhaps in New Year we would go back a step a little. So large gatherings, concerts, for example, gigs, nightclubs, no. Pubs, table service only. You know, restaurants. You know, really reduce that stuff down. And that's all I know, really. Because we don't know if it's actually going to be implemented. I know the government doesn't want to do this, because that means they may have to reintroduce furlough, and they really don't want to reintroduce furlough. By the way, to everyone that's joined this evening, considering we've been away for 3 weeks, and because it's New Year's Eve, thank you. we will be back to regular programming real soon.
Indeed, we will. Um, yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to reintroduce furlough because I imagine that would come with a lot of unemployment benefits
I,
that I don't know if your government has the ability to do. But
I
I know that
think
we're just printing money like assholes.
I think it will come with a big consequence. The last time the self-employment income support scheme, for example, which was the grant given to cover loss of earnings for self-employed people, that was
Hmm.
based on your tax return for the last year, and that wasn't. It was a very very small amount given, but it's all right. It's fine. I personally won't be going for it if they ever did that. I don't want that ever again. I don't like taking government money at the best of times, even if it's essentially free. I don't want it. I've got a little bit of savings again, so I'm just like, you know what? Savings are there for a reason. I'll use them instead. Although I shouldn't need to be honest. I should be all right.
Hmm.
We'll see. Worst comes to worst, I'll just tell people, give me your money, please, and see
Ah,
what
like a
happens.
good grifter. Yes, yes,
Yes. Skeptic trademark.
yes, indeed.
Terms and conditions apply.
Batteries not included.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always the batteries, right? It's always them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it. Fucking lithium batteries don't live well.
Fam, they still sell the zinc ones in the shop. Okay.
Do they really?
Yeah. We still get big multi packs of those from like Poundland.
Okay.
F in the chat for Betty White. But yeah,
Oh yes, that was something that had just happened.
bit of a surprise. I'll admit. There's been a few surprise passings this year. That one's the biggest surprise.
Hmm. And that one just happened today, so very unfortunate. Rip.
Very unfortunate. Um, do you, Trups, have any New
Mm.
Year's resolutions?
I don't necessarily believe in New Year's resolutions,
Anything
and
you'd like to
uh,
try and do in 2022 then?
I mean, they're fuck. Uh, I I don't like giving myself any kind of like hope because I
Oh,
know
no,
I'm a lazy shit.
I like goals as
Um,
opposed to hope.
uh, man, I don't know. I want to be able to put more effort into like creating more and also varied content on
Hmm.
YouTube because politics. I mean, of course, you know, and probably the chat knows, but politics is fucking. It drags you down, dude.
It
Um,
does. It's actually
it,
quite frustrating.
it is not a fun thing to talk about, like in any stretch of the imagination.
Hmm.
Um,
I
it's
think,
something that you have to talk about
I,
because it is so terribly necessary for people to actually understand
yeah.
what is going on.
I think
Because
there are
too
some
many
aspects
people
of politics
don't.
that can be interesting. Like when I used to do PMQ streams, that to me was hilarious because of
Mm,
how bad the Prime Minister always performed or how badly obsessive the opposition was.
mhm. Well, one of my biggest reasons why I started doing news in the first place was that I had the feeling that almost everybody who went and did politics or talked about the news was always at least about 10 years older than me, right? So they were from a different generation. I
Hi.
am yeah, I mean, yes, you. But I mean, people like Sargon, for instance. Dude's like 40 plus.
He's older than me, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in his 40s.
Right. So you had Gen X and early millennials who were doing the majority of commentary.
Hmm.
Well, very few younger millennials to Gen Z did anything in regards to politics because I don't know, I guess we just didn't care.
Well, I
Um
always found that it became like I didn't become interested in politics until I started on YouTube, and it was because of politics that I started in other creators. But politics is what actually drove me to start this channel, the main channel.
mhm.
But I didn't understand it, which is why I felt the channel was a great opportunity to learn, try and
Right.
understand it, which I don't think you can ever really do.
Right. But that was one of the main reasons why I decided to make a politics oriented channel. Though I think now to change the approach slightly may be warranted, but we'll keep the same idea, but I may change how it's presented, I think, rather.
Hmm.
Because right now it's very boring to watch.
So I have some resolutions, goals, if you
Okay,
will.
go for it.
The first is to, when once I have the money to do it, to fly out to a particular state and go with this gorgeous, scrumptious piece of crumpet called TrupsLP to a shooting range
Mm. Oh, hell yeah, brother.
and go drinking with him.
Yeah. I didn't know
That's,
you were planning on that trip this year. Hell
well,
yeah.
this year or next year,
Yeah,
I don't mind really. I will happily save up to do that because I've got my passport now. I've got it. I may as well try and use it. But obviously,
yeah,
restrictions
definitely.
are causing issues here. The second, be consistent on the main channel and try and retain the audience while growing. But this
Mm.
channel is no longer going to have videos on it. I can't be asked. It doesn't grow. Politics is saturated. Not going to happen. I'm going to focus on streaming on this channel. So that doesn't just mean this. I mean PMQs. I'm going to bring those back. But maybe also the odd topical discussion stream, which I would like to get Trups involved in because we've been discussing it for over a year now and we still haven't done it.
Very true.
I did
Very true.
change, I changed the homepage of this channel. Thank you, Syria De Flora, for the $3 super chat. That's very kind of you. And
Thank you very much.
I changed it to include the Spotify link in the top. One of those links in the top right you can click on.
Yeah, yeah.
So I put that there, and I put your beacon link in there as well, because
Mm-hmm.
why not? um, make some changes and go with that because I don't really see the point in trying to push this channel to grow because I don't. It doesn't. Politics just doesn't do it.
Right. Um, I
But
think it would rather grow if we brought the audience here, I think.
I agree. I think topical streams could help as well, whether that be nerding out over things or.
Oh yeah, totally.
And as Trups has seen it, we have our new set is finished.
Yes, I
Yes.
like it a lot.
Now you know why I wanted her to do it so badly.
Yeah,
Um,
I knew why.
I
I
did
was
show
just
it on a game stream on Twitch. I was like, "What do you think?" Uh, I'm like, "Yeah." Now I just need to get the avatar sorted. So I'm going to talk to my avatar artist. She's the only person I will trust with this job, and put because she's the only person that can do me accurately. Hello, but I think she's the only person that can actually do you properly as well.
That's a good point.
Because she'll get the shading with the lights that are on there as well. She'll get the angles right. She won't cock
Mm-hmm.
this up, you know. Decent,
Very
proper
true.
set. For those who watch on YouTube, something decent to look at. Although I do like the look of this one. I like it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just no. That's I can't describe how wrong it is. No offense to the artists, of course, they're very talented, but no.
Yeah, but that is a future plan, and I am totally down with your goals there, and I will do my best to help facilitate their
it
success.
will
Uh,
it will happen. The only other goal I think will be to try and grow my main channel on BitChute. That's pretty much it. Carry on with the going to the gym every day and just crushing it.
mhm. Nerdy Rodent says politics with a twist. What's the unique selling point? What's the value add? It's okay. So
Zero.
the biggest, actually, it's not politics with a twist. It's actually other things and then politics. Because honestly, nobody goes to a channel because, hey, well, okay, very few, very specific types of people will seek out a channel because, hey, they're talking about politics and I want to know their opinion on politics.
This channel
It's a
wasn't that
very niche
originally.
audience. Right. Well, it's a very niche thing to go and look for
This channel was originally
versus
for patron streams, and I did something called the Cthulhukin and Friends Show, and we just
hmm,
BS'd for an hour and a half.
But the other selling point is to entertain somebody
Mm-hmm.
with your politics.
Yeah.
There is a much if you ever look at um I'm going to use people on the left for as an example because they do this very well. As much as I do not like them as people, they do know how to market. People like Hassan and Destiny and Vosh, they are gamers who also talk politics. Let Destiny a little less now, but um,
Omniliberal. That's the Twitter he uses for politics, though.
right. But
It's
what
very
they do
funny.
is they bring people to their streams for gaming and then proceed to play games and then talk about politics as it comes up and as it's important.
Mm-hmm.
The main focus is talking about entertainment first, then politics. It's
Yeah.
a better way to get people onto your side because then they like you for your personality and not for your political opinion.
Yeah.
And in that case, they end up building a culture which allows Hassan to go and buy a $5 fucking million house in the Hamptons,
By the
which is
way,
great
as
considering everyone is now moving away from California.
yeah, as well, they're mostly moving to Texas, aren't they?
Yeah.
As Vosh has sorry, Rodent's pointed out, Vosh has been trending on Twitter so many times this year, so many
Hmm.
times, and I have to admit, I found that very, very funny. I don't mind Vosh too much, but some of his spicy takes, man,
Hmm.
they're
Oh,
they're
yes, absolutely.
way way too spicy.
Indeed. But the thing is like, for example, for me, I am primarily a gamer. I do that more often than I do anything else. Why I have not actually done this earlier, I cannot explain.
Hmm.
But anyway, that's those are my thoughts, and that's kind of where I was going with the twist and the
Yeah.
change. Um,
Excuse me.
but anyways, speaking of young people making culture, primarily on the left, um, AOC has recently been found in Miami because, of course, this year, as you might have guessed it, Times Square is not the place to be hosting a New Year's celebration. What with the rampant upticks in crime, the recent COVID infections, and of course, the general authoritarianism of their police, citing in an individual circumstance in which they asked or demanded the papers of a child, their
Oh
vaccination
God,
papers.
I saw that with the police officers surrounding them.
Yeah, no, it was actually fucking
Someone
terrifying.
sent me that and asked me if I was going to feature it in a video, and I'm like, first of all, I can't talk about COVID on my main channel, but holy crap, that was so wrong.
Yeah, no, it was actually. I'm like, oh look, the Nazis. Next, you're
Unbelievable.
gonna find that you're gonna have to hide the children in attics or something. Maybe under the floorboards.
I honestly don't know.
Hmm, we'll see. But yes, so AOC is in Miami. Um, Interesting, of course, to everybody.
Yeah,
And she's sitting at an outdoor venue with her, I suppose her
I've got the
boyfriend
picture
or
on my screen.
fiance,
It's her partner because
fiance.
he's a yeah, he's got a beard. It's her partner.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Um, Maskless, as you know, Florida does not believe in these authoritarian COVID mandates, um, and people have called her out on it, saying, "Ah, look, the New York Congresswoman has fled to Miami and is
yeah.
enjoying the lack of COVID requirements."
So
Interesting.
I tend to agree with someone I know on Twitter called Maddie. She's
Hmm.
eating and drinking. You can do that. You can't do that without with a mask on. But
Of
in a lot of
course.
places, if there are mask mandates when you're eating or drinking somewhere, in the UK especially, it's a thing. You don't have to wear the mask once you're sat. In fact, the whole point of you being there is to consume something. Therefore, the mask comes off when you're sat.
Hmm. No,
So this isn't the
that
point.
that's not the problem. That's not the problem, though. Well, the article that I have pulled up
Hmm.
says AOC claims motivated by sexual frustrations in Twitter rant amid Florida trip controversy. And Ocasio-Cortez tweets the following. If Republicans are mad they can't date me, they can just say that instead of projecting their sexual frustrations onto my boyfriend's feet.
Oh yeah, actually, okay, that's the image I've got. Steve Cortez. He's done one. If leftists like AOC actually thought mandates and masking worked, they wouldn't be frolicking in free Florida. 2. Her guy is showing his gross pale male feet in public, not at a pool beach with hideous sandals. 0 for 2. I'm just sat here like, okay, I don't care about sandals. I don't wear them myself, but I'm not going to judge another man's footwear. It says, they look like a couple. Who gives a fuck?
Well, the only reason why it's like the part about that is just feet creep people out, dude.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just like I'm very
And like
indifferent to it.
it just so happens that it's that picture and that's literally center frame. So
It's just
that's where your eyes are going to be drawn to.
I was drawn to her smile actually, but yeah, you got a point. Pictures are divided into 9 cells. One that catches your attention is usually in the middle, so you got a point.
Mhm.
Um,
So I think that's why a lot of people were commenting on the feet because, of course, that's what they saw.
I'm gonna, for those in the chat who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna put a link to the Cortez tweet, Quartz, whatever his name is, tweet in the chat, and you can see the picture along with a ring around the gross pale male feet. It sounds like an IPA, doesn't it?
Mate, yeah, I guess actually. Well, let me see if I see the picture because it might be a different picture than the one I'm looking
Oh
at.
no, this is a straight up. It's very. His leg is crossed. It's just there. It is sandal foot.
Okay. Is
I
it
think.
the center bottom?
Yeah, center in the middle.
Okay.
The
Yeah. All
bottom.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the same picture I was
yeah,
looking at.
yeah.
Um,
I don't really see it as gross,
but
but I'm indifferent to this
I
kind
mean,
of stuff.
sure.
It's not as much of a hassle here because Crocs are very popular. People like to wear sandals. I live by the ocean, so
Hmm.
what do you expect?
Right. Of course. And the real criticism here is actually not about the sandals or the feet. The criticism is you're spending New Year's in Miami when your state is in shambles and we are breaking a tradition that has gone back decades with New York Times Square not being the place where New York's the broadcast of the ball drop.
Oh, is that the
That's
thing
not
where
happening there.
is that
It's
where we saw
happening
Ninja
now in
doing some
Miami.
cringy dance and all that?
Yes, yes, that is
Okay.
exactly where that happened.
Well, that's unfortunate that New
Uh,
York's not. And it's I guess
I'm sure they're still having something.
if a politician wants to what is going to get a legit criticism in this, it should be that if your state is in shambles, you should be seen there, leading by example. You shouldn't be seen in other states where you have freedoms, all the while criticizing those states that have those freedoms. One rule for me, but not for me, as is always the case.
Mhm.
I don't know. It is a bit. It does. For me, there's a moral line there, and it feels like. I mean, and I get it because you're a politician. You're now dealing with the national interest, but you're not doing anything. Shut up. You're
I
just
guess I can at least give CNN some credit. Anderson Cooper is still going to be in Times Square.
doing what? Masturbating.
Well, no. That's Tubin.
My mistake. Sorry.
He still will be broadcasting New Year's from Times Square.
I mean,
Several other outlets aren't. So let me revise that.
are they actually gonna do some kind of thing in Times Square, or is it just no?
I don't know. They're not allowed to have parties, so
Maybe it's just.
I hope they don't do the fucking
holograms.
creepy ass robot thing again.
No. They should do what that circus did in Germany, the holographic one. Very clever.
Oh my god, it was.
Very clever.
Did you see some of the pictures from the 2021 New Year's in Times Square? Was fucking weird, dude.
Okay, well, holographic news thing sounds like fun, but I'd love to see this instead.
The New Year. Oh, let me see if I can find a picture of the New Year's crowd in 2021, because it was all like these like mannequins
Oh god.
or something. It was very, very creepy. I'll see if I can.
Sounds it. I need it. For science. We on this channel are known for high quality research and not on the spot sourcing. So I'll read the chat.
Yeah,
Garrett, I've lived in California for 18 years. Moved to Florida in 2016. Never been happier. Typhoon Negator, hey, wishing you guys a happy new year. Thank you, and to you too. Atul Geek. Ted Cruz went to Mexico when the power was out in Texas. He got a lot of complaints about it. He did. I remember that, actually. That was a bit of a coinky dink. Yes. Let's see. What was this? Oh, the vial thing. Yeah, so the child. Yes, I agree. I saw that. Yeah, not great. And just because the foot thing amused me, I remember during the week we mentioned obviously gross pale male feet of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's partner. Because I don't know if he's a fiance or the old boyfriend. I'm just going to go with partner. It's a cop-out term. I remember I remember a few days ago, I saw something that actually made me for a second double take because I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a lady getting a tattoo on her thigh, and it was her partner's face, and I think she was white. If not, she was passing white. Let's go with that. Is that right? Yeah. And she had a word starting with N, I believe, or an A at the end, I believe, on her thigh being tattooed. And then the camera panned down to her boyfriend eating her foot. And then putting sauce on that foot and eating her foot.
I've seen this.
And I was like, the picture made me think that she's being treated like property. The tattoo, sorry. Because it's something she can't say, but, she might be able to. No, she can't. And then it pans down to this guy eating her foot, and the tattoo artist is just working. I'm just like, fam, are you okay? Do you need help? I'm assuming he'd ask for help eating the foot. We don't do them things here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock those that have a fetish for it or have a desire to put a foot in their mouth. It's just not for me, okay? And seeing that in a tattoo parlor in the current, what's going on right now, my first thought was, how the fuck did you get permission to do that? How did you get the permission? Surely you had to wear a mask. I think it was Irate Alex I saw retweet it as well. Oh, you did, Joe. Sorry. I'm filling up time while Trups looks for some.
I can't find it right now, but I'll find it eventually.
You just do that. Yeah. Actually, that's a point. That's a point. I tweeted a poll out on our politics Twitter, which goes back to coronavirus. Actually, just want to touch on it quickly. So I tweeted, so will the UK head to another lockdown or not? If you believe it will, do you support this? The answers were lockdown and no. Lockdown 62.3%, no 37.7%, with 77 people voting on it. Not a single like on that tweet though. I love it.
That's actually hilarious. So you're telling me that the majority of people said that Britain should lock down?
They think we will lock down.
Will.
Yeah, so if you believe it will, do you support it? That was me. I should have written, please explain underneath. Because there were 4 replies, but none of them really, no. It tickled me, though, because I technically got ratioed. 4 replies, 1 quote retweet, no likes.
Yep, that is true. You did.
We got ratioed, everyone. Hello, Joe, by the way.
Get fucked.
Yeah, we've been cancelled. It's over. It's over. I'm okay with that. We got engagement on it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you were happy.
You know, It's the little things. It was either that or I open up a really
True.
expensive bottle of whiskey and drown my sorrows.
Ah, yes, of course. That's a common thing for most people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. So I can't find that right now.
That's
But
all right.
no, I don't know necessarily what we're going to end up doing with the whole COVID thing.
Do you think? Do you think?
But
Do you think AOC is a hypocrite or anything, or do you think she's just enjoying some downtime?
can she be both?
Yes.
I vote both.
Defend. No, I'm
And
kidding. You've already
okay,
done that. You've already
well,
done that.
it's because is she enjoying downtime? Sure, everyone is entitled to have time off and enjoy it with their family,
Especially
but
them
that's fine.
hardworking politicians. Yeah.
Fuck them. They set their own salaries. Not a single other job gets to do that except
No,
for
don't.
CEOs.
Not in this company. No, in this country, they bloody well don't.
Well, maybe we can learn something from them. Um,
Yeah.
but no, we. I think people still get to enjoy their holidays with their people. That's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
But when our own state can't do that
but
themselves.
right when you go to, ironically, the place that everyone on that side of the aisle claims to hate, right? Because DeSantis is evil and causing all this, this terribleness to happen, all that kind of crap. And you've got news articles written against DeSantis and tweets from blue checks and everybody else talking about how, oh, he's such a bad person and all this, that, and the other. And you're going to go down to Miami and enjoy the fruits of the efforts that somebody else who you claim to not uh not support, or at least will at least acknowledge he makes a good decision,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Then I think that you're being a hypocrite and you're being a bit of a cunt.
A bit is is a massive undersell, I believe, but I do agree with the statement overall.
Now it can be remedied rather quickly and easily. All they have to do is say, you know what, I don't like him, I don't like his policies, but he's doing a fine job with X, Y, or Z. That's it.
The guy's going to be more than likely Trump's running mate.
Likely, if not running himself.
Honestly, running mate would make him stronger, but yeah, because then he could do 4 years of Trump, and then he'd be able to run. He'd have the experience
True.
of two high
I
offices at that
agree,
point.
actually. I
Think
agree.
if he went from governor to VP to then challenge for president, yeah, that makes him
Mm,
look stronger.
a good point.
Is
Um,
DeSantis one of the white ones, or is he one of the minority ones?
I believe he's technically a minority.
Woohoo!
Uh, let's check.
I only ask because no doubt that'll be used against him in the sense of, but he's the wrong kind because they only vote Democrat. Remember,
Yes.
my
Quite.
my avatar artist would beg to differ.
I don't know what he is. Let's
It's just
see.
the duh
See what?
part had me wonder.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Who's his? Oh, well, I guess that doesn't help. I was trying to
It's
see
okay.
what
It's
his
okay. Don't worry about it.
parents were.
We'll we'll look at it another time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. Oh, he's of Italian descent.
Ah, kind of works.
Yeah, it works. But anyway,
He does it like a mob
so
boss.
that's what it is.
Salvatore
Um,
Leone, everyone. It's Salvatore Leone.
hell yeah. So that's all what's been going on within the past couple weeks. It's been kind of shitty. But I hear the fireworks going off in the background around me, so I know people
Oh,
are
I've got them
starting
too.
to get excited.
Luckily, my
Um,
dog is deaf, so we're all right, you know.
yeah, well, luckily my cat doesn't give a fuck.
The other dogs here
Um,
don't care. The bulldog's injured herself, so she's busy hiding in a crate and pretending it's everyone else's fault.
oh, good. I know the type. I know the type. My brother's Wiener Beagle is
Oh,
a
sausage
drama
dog
queen. Yes, except with
with beagle.
Baru. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Um,
That's a cool breed.
it has a habit of getting into altercations with
Yeah.
other dogs, with our other dog, and then when the play gets just a little too rough for her, yelps and whines as if the dog has bitten her.
What I'm hearing is your dog's bitch made.
No, 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 that's my brother's dog.
Oh, your brother. Sorry, my apologies. Your brother's dog is bitch made.
True, true. I agree. And then after like getting like yelled at from across the room, she'll walk up to you and give you like these sweetest eyes, like I haven't done anything
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like you're a lying little shit and you know it.
That's what my sister's bulldog puppy does because she likes to chew everything. And so what she's been
Mm-hmm.
doing is because Lizzie and Sizzles are both cavaliers and they have droopy ears like spaniels because they are. She's been attacking their ears and hurting them. And then she'll come
Oh,
up to you like she's done nothing wrong. And I've had to go over there and take the two dogs away. And like, stop chewing their ears. She's drawn blood. Like,
right.
no, stop it. I'm not allowed to bite her ear in response. I'm not allowed to. I don't know why.
Assert dominance.
I want to assert my
Assert dominance.
dominance.
Bite the dog back.
I should be allowed to bite the dog, even though I like
Well, then
dogs.
bite the dog.
I should be allowed to bite the
Um,
dog.
don't bite the dog.
I won't bite the dog. I'm not that guy.
No. Yeah, don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't try this at home, kids.
Fucking. But so, if we had to go back, right? If we
Yeah.
actually had to do like a 2021 in review, right?
Mm.
Well, 2021 in review, we would have to mention, I guess, January 6th.
Oh, you mean that insurrection?
Yeah, apparently, a lot of people have just been fucking charged with trespassing, but yeah, it was the worst threat to the democracy ever.
Because security
Apparently.
was absolutely impotent that day, of course.
Oh, I mean, it to be fair, they were kind of like, I mean, I guess you can come in. I don't know.
Is there
Like some
anything?
people were just like, "Ugh."
Is there anything that explicitly bans them from being present or in that
I
building?
mean, not that I'm personally aware of. You usually would just follow the orders of the police officers at the time, but there are literal videos of police officers opening the doors. So I can't even say that what they did was objectively wrong because
They
it was
had
right
an
there.
inside man, clearly.
Well, they definitely did have that. Did have that.
Oh,
But if you ever hear anything about the insurrection in the upcoming, uh, year, because of course we are about to approach midterm campaign year.
oh yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to those
Oh, it's going to
midterms.
be interesting, certainly.
I bet there'll be a record turnout of people like, Biden's there now. I don't give a shit anymore.
Well, right now it's looking like Republicans might do a fucking full 46 seat swap in the House.
What do you mean?
That's means Republicans are going to take 46 seats in the Democrats,
Ooh, I
which is
hope.
disgusting.
I mean, is that filth? Is that a big number? Is that
That's a lot.
is that erection worthy?
Yes.
You realise
Well,
though,
for me,
right? So what tickles me the most is that insurrection was used to impeach Mr. Trump a second time, but also wasn't it to try and ban him from ever campaigning ever again? And yet, as
yes,
we all know, he actively said, "Go home."
yes.
But apparently, but because he used certain words like fight and no, fight was the main one really. Even though that is
Yeah, that
used
was the
by,
one that people.
there are other buzzwords, I just can't remember them. But that was the main one, and that's used by every politician when they talk about what they're going to do if they're in charge during debates and what they're willing to do. I'm going to
Mhm.
fight for my country. Actually, motherfucker, your Secret Service is going to put you in a bunker and everyone else is going to fight on your behalf under your instruction. Because you're a bitch as
True,
well.
System of a
With a
Down did say
camera
that.
up your asshole! Routine, of course.
Yes, that is how we got the first woman president, after all.
With a camera up Biden's bum.
Yes.
Nice.
And then he got done doing bum stuff and went back to being president.
I always pegged him for a no butt stuff guy.
Right.
Yeah, I meant that.
Yep. Obvious joke was obvious, but still funny.
Yeah. I couldn't resist. No butt stuff.
For some reason, I just had the picture of fucking South Park in my head.
It's actually one of my server mods.
Good. But so that happened. I think we also, what else did we have this year? Oh, we had the GameStop rebellion.
The Stonks. Fucking Stonks. The Doge.
And everyone got so, oh yeah, Doge. People got so upset, by the way, about that GameStop thing. It's still slightly happening too, I think. Hold on.
Is GameStop still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one like around the corner of my house.
I only know about them because of Chris Chan and because of the Stonks.
Oh yeah, that happened this year too. I think we're gonna see. I think his trial's next year, right?
I think it is. I only know about Chris Chan, the GameStop thing, because of the first few videos in the documentary on him, where he got banned for being a pouty little bitch while playing Pokemon. I'm sorry, I've never reacted like that when I played Magic the Gathering. I've played people when I'm just playing. That's it. I lost. All right, fine. Bye. Okay, go get a drink then.
I do want to point out GME is still over $100.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's still not the $2 that they were trying to short it.
The British blocked me over that amusingly. He's adamant that they are in the wrong. Oh, the insurrection thing. Yeah, British. I think
I saw that tweet exchange actually.
He's a bit. He's a bit strange at times. Like his views on Tommy Robinson were very much, like he was trying to promote consequence of free speech. Yes, but his argument was very much of the opinion of, well, Tommy just should be there anyway. I'm like,
yeah, that was the same argument that people used for Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, don't work. It's a bad It's bad faith.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but it also shows that like there's nothing substantive about the argument, and all you're doing is basically you're just saying that, oh, well, based on the information that we have now, he shouldn't have been there because we know what happens after the fact.
Yeah, of course. Hindsight's very important.
Yeah, and even though the actual issue came about just because he was there.
They mean GameStop, not the insurrection. My mistake.
Oh. Okay, then no, I saw somebody else get blocked.
If you have that interaction on Twitter still, can you just like
I don't know, not, he got blocked.
Just DM me like your original tweet to the thread, and I'll be able to see the rest of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Stonks thing was actually our first stream we put on Spotify, because that's something we did this year.
Oh
yeah. So Reddit deals in Stonks, I believe we called it, and it's probably the most. It is the most listened to, second most now actually listened to one. I think the first one was the Chauvin. The Chauvin one has the most listens overall.
I don't doubt that actually.
Let's have a look.
I don't remember if I did well on that stream or not. Wait, I need to know why he was so upset about that, because that's actually hilarious. But no, I saw a lot of people get very, very upset and have very, very staunch opinions this year about things that literally they're not hills to die on. Oh, he was yeeted from Twitter. That's
yeah. Sad times.
Too spicy.
Must be.
But no, the people would die on like the stupidest hills. I remember I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook, and they were complaining that somebody who was a Republican was giving them very, very shoddy arguments back at them, and basically was the quintessential like angry Republican type, which is not how I try to live my life. So I'm not that type of person, but I will laugh at their misadventures. But they started talking about Kyle Rittenhouse and how it was terrible that people died and it was wrong and all this shit. And I posted it. And I was like, I mean, was it bad that people died? Well, let's look at the people who died. 5-time child rapist, domestic abuser.
People have said that
No, I think this is hilarious. Actually, this is the greatest thing.
there is a funny aspect to it. Obviously, I don't agree with the death aspect. I obviously can't. No, but people have pointed out that is a bad argument in the sense of what they've done as crimes because people still died. Because their view is always preserve all life, even though a lot of these people live in states where the death penalty still exists, and you don't hear them complain about that as well.
Well, that's the funny part because what they then responded to me with, sure, I get that, but it shouldn't have been in the hands of a child. That should have been something that our justice system handled. And I go, no. Because if there was a 16-year-old who shot a rapist, you wouldn't say that. And then I realized after the fact, I said, actually, our justice system did rule on those instances, and they said it was fine. They called him not guilty on all charges. So actually, our justice system did work out. Because if it were wrong, he would have been sentenced. I don't usually, the thing is, in the absence of a victim, there is no crime. Well, if there's no person to report that it happened, then it's really hard to report the crime. So if Kyle died, it wouldn't have done anything.
Mm-hmm.
So this actually works out the best. In terms of our justice system, and the fact that Kyle was still put on trial means that the justice system did try to hold somebody accountable, but found that he was in fact not guilty of the crimes that they had charged him of. So the justice system worked.
Well, it works. If I remember correctly, that's not what somebody said. They said that this proved that justice needed some kind of overhaul, didn't it? Wasn't that Kamala Harris?
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris's justice overhaul.
Ironic.
If we're going to look at the history of the states that are currently introducing bail reform policies, you'll notice that many of them aren't going to prison for anything at all. And police are getting sick and tired of it and quitting still. And it's because DAs won't prosecute, which is why this midterm is super, super important for places like that, because the people who didn't leave to places like Florida and Texas now have the chance to potentially salvage their state.
Yeah.
So we will see if any people with common sense are still there.
Common sense doesn't exist, mate.
It's very uncommon. I don't know why we call it common sense anymore. But yeah. So that's a thing. Anything else I could think of that like was super, super important this year? Let's see, 2021. Well, we got to watch a literal fucking president just kind of like waffle through everything.
I've barely seen
Oh
him
yeah,
at
Russia
all.
is almost invading Ukraine. That's a thing.
Oh yeah. Well, although
That's a thing that's happening.
I know that Biden's sort of said we're not backing down from Russia on this one. I'm like, so you'll back down soon then? All right.
Yeah.
NATO is already there anyway. We've got troops over there ourselves. We're like, no, we're not having that.
Which is, a thing.
We're not okay with that. Screw you, Russia.
Fair.
We're not gonna let you take another country or annex another place, which is part of the Ukraine anyway.
You're right. Like you've been here already. Go away. Go
But
home.
they still have it. They've got Crimea, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
They can get wrecked on
Um,
that one, I'm afraid.
Now there is a one point to the whole Russia thing that perhaps I'm just not as educated on this situation. But wasn't one of the ironclad promises sent to Russia by the U.S. and allies was that NATO was not going to expand eastward, and haven't every single fucking year we've done more and more eastward, encroaching
Uh,
on Russian territory?
yeah, yeah. I try not to pay
Wouldn't you feel
attention.
a little pissy?
Well, honestly, they have a right to at that point, but not enough to take a country. That's not happening. Ukraine wants to join the European Union. If they want to join, they get protections, whether Russia like it or not.
Yeah, but they also want to join NATO,
Hmm.
and that would be one of the agreements that.
I think that's a bit of a
Uh,
strange one because that means then that Ukraine are having to then abide promises made by other countries on their behalf.
well, I'm gonna be a bit insensitive here.
Yeah,
If they could defend themselves, they wouldn't need us.
I don't think many countries can defend themselves against Russia. That's the
I
counter.
agree.
It's the
I
only
agree.
counter, really, because Russia
No,
are their army is phenomenal.
oh, absolutely, and their ground game is unfucking beatable.
Yeah,
If
they
you
would.
have to challenge Russia in a ground war, they win. They
Yeah,
just
they would.
their artillery is unmatched.
Well, yeah, they've managed to maintain that. They learnt their lessons from the wars, from World War One and Two. Well, two more notably.
Mhm,
Um, they learnt their lesson very quickly, and they still kept going. They're very impressive,
mhm,
actually, in that regard. Um, that and there's a weird thing with Russians and their ability to like extol punishment. They can just keep
mhm.
taking it. All right then, aim for the head, people.
Right.
With your words, of course. We don't do violence here.
But yeah, but when it comes to I believe they use the term ironclad promise.
Yeah.
Um, that was, yeah, Russia's got a point. The U.S. broke a NATO promise. Um, and that this is from a 2016 article. They would not expand into Eastern Europe, a deal made during the 1990 negotiations between the West and the Soviet Union over German unification. So, after the Berlin Wall fell, Europe's regional order hinged on the question of whether a reunified Germany would be aligned with the United States, Soviet Union, or neither.
Ah.
And policymakers in the George H.W. Bush administration decided in early 1990 that NATO should include the reconstituted German Republic. And the U.S. leaders made the Soviets an offer, according to transcripts of meetings, that in exchange for cooperation on Germany, U.S. could make an ironclad guarantees that NATO would not expand 1 inch eastward from Germany.
That's interesting.
Now, there was no formal deal; it was a quid pro quo.
Hmm.
Um,
A
so
gentleman's
I guess,
agreement, so.
yeah. So I guess at that point, you fucked. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it helped. But it helped end the Cold War, which probably mentioned there probably was some arguments over some nukes at the time.
Uh, well, since China have got
So
hypersonic missiles, maybe we should go back to a Cold War so everyone can up their game.
I guess where are we going next? Fucking Saturn instead of the moon. We already been to Mars. Maybe we'll land on.
I was thinking Ice Crown Citadel.
Hmm. But yeah, so that's a thing. I don't agree with Russia doing that, but like from their perspective, I kind of see why
Oh
they're
no, you
angry.
could see the point. But I still don't agree with it regardless.
No,
I see the point. Yeah.
Yeah, I often disagree with expansion. I even disagree with certain
Oh, there's a
expansions
cat in my room.
from places like Israel, but um,
Oh shit. Okay, so Lisa in the chat has just a minute ago wrote something, and I had to quickly just Google it. Oh, Tony Blair's being knighted. He's going to become Sir Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister, involved in the illegal wars of Iraq.
oh
George
boy,
Bush's dildo is getting a knighthood. Oh my king god! No one in this country likes Tony
Ew.
Blair. You were shite or you're unpopular, even though you came in with one of the most like popular, down with the people mentalities. Yeah, he was so popular when he got elected in, but he sucked off George Bush so much. Honestly, Lewinsky had nothing on this, and it just no. And he's so hated that he makes Gordon Brown, his successor and his Chancellor of the Exchequer, look like a competent prime minister. Just no. Get fucked, Tony. Oh, and the withdrawal from Afghanistan. That was interesting. That
oh
was
yeah.
a clusterfuck of cock ups.
This was actually okay. As kind of like the last things I realized we're running low on time. Um, the Afghanistan withdrawal was something that originally was planned by Donald Trump, and I remember in my video why I'm voting for Donald Trump, I talked about it. Um,
Trups. Hello? Trups? I can't hear you, mate. Your audio's not coming through. Or maybe it is. Maybe my headphones have just malfunctioned for a second. My apologies. Let's see if that works. No, you actually are malfunctioning. Nice. Sorry for a second. Right. Try again.
I'm trying.
There we go. I can hear you now. My apologies.
Where did I stop?
Go back to where you started.
So the Afghanistan plan thing. I had mentioned that that was one of the reasons why I liked Trump in the video on my channel. But but what Biden did was not that plan. I mean, like it was put in place by Trump, and that plan was not exactly followed. Biden made some changes to the timeline and a couple of other things, and I think how many people they were going to leave behind. Basically, Biden screwed that up because he wanted a complete and total withdrawal instead of the gradual withdrawal. But I'm also going to place a lot of fault on the CIA and in different intelligence organizations because they knew that Kabul was going to fall because the Taliban was coming through, and apparently no one did anything about it. Um, so it was something that I was really hoping for to go well, but looking at it now, it really sucked.
It
Um,
did, and I hated what happened. All the people that are there, they got effed over, not just by this pulp withdrawal. I know the defense thing is a bit of a tricky one, but
mhm.
the complete lack of it. To me, it seemed like Biden only chose to do it the way he did it solely so he could be different from how Trump did it. Like everything he did had to be different from Trump.
Right? Yeah, I think so as well.
It's pathetic.
There was something wholly wrong with what happened, and I mean we lost U.S. service members because of it.
Yeah, absolutely
Um,
pathetic. Well,
and
not
I'm
they're lost.
sure there were
Diabolical.
many other probably who we don't know about who aren't service members, so we don't, I guess, pay attention to them apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Who will never find out what happened. Some of them were some people were taken out by the Taliban on their way in. And it's just a shame. It's a shame that it went that way because it didn't have to. And as much as they want to say, "Oh, the planning was Trump's," yeah, but you were the one to execute it in the way that you did, and you fucked it. So that's unfortunately where the Afghanistan withdrawal ends, because that's all that there is to it, because our glorious fucking leader, um
Kim Jong Biden.
yeah, can fucking nah, not even that, just puppet. It's, man, watching the people try to cling to the sides of the C-17s was not only tragic, but it was, I don't want to use the word traumatizing, but it was a very distressing thing to see. To just see all of these just bodies falling off of C-17s.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking disgusting. And alas, our illustrious government said, "Yeah, it's a roaring success." I'm like, "Yeah, except for all the fucking people who died." Asshole.
Yeah, they're just chatting shit, mate.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's government for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how that worked out for you guys in the UK. I know you guys had your own adventures.
We were hardly impressed with it.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't think that was something that was worth bragging about to anybody, honestly.
No, no. We were still annoyed because Biden was still saying while it was happening. By the way, you're at the back of the queue for negotiations on trade deals. The trade deals were in place. All you had to do was sign it. All right, be a dick about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Um,
I think we're done then. Okay.
yeah, honestly.
Happy New Year,
Um,
everyone.
yeah, Happy New Year, woohoo! I think you
Thanks.
guys got a little less than an hour before it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, 40 minutes. I'm going to bed. I'm going to be going to bed soon, though, so I don't really care. Thank you all
Okay.
very much for joining us. We shall, unless Trups isn't here next week, be back here next week.
I should be here. What the fuck is next week? No, I should be here.
Woohoo! So we shall, well, hopefully be back to slightly more upbeat topics, provided Trups is out of his quarantine flu thing.
Yeah, I hope so, because I hate being sick, man. It's
You
fucking
might
downer.
even sound happy. You never know, people.
Oh.
It
Yeah,
might,
that would
it,
be nice.
I mean, you sounding like this though makes it sound like two people just can't give a fuck. You know, nice and equal, nice and
Yeah,
balanced.
fucking
You know.
Happy New Year. Fuck you. Fuck this. Fuck politics.
Say goodnight,
I
Trups.
mean,